Hello everyone, today we're talking about the Goblin Warband from WizKids. The Goblin Warband set is pre-painted, pre-packaged, coming in a clear box, so you know the exact miniatures you're getting. You're going to get 6 goblins in this set. Before we jump into actually having a look at them all swirling around on the rotator there, now let's have a look at this picture. Let's start off this with a negative here, and the fact that the box, there's so much space, so much empty air in that box. I just couldn't not mention it, but there we go. Get that negative out the way. You know, you throw the packaging away, hopefully recycling it. But right, that's annoying. Let's move on to the minis. The 6 minis are all pretty glorious, to be honest. I kind of like the paint job. You know, their armor's picked out nicely. The sort of all the weapons have the right sort of colouring to them. Now, on one of the shields, some of the sort of the metal colour had sort of gone over onto the wooden part of the shield. That's a slight negative. But otherwise, the paint job on all of these, I'm really happy with. And the little blemishes, you're only going to notice that if you're actually sort of sat up close. You know, when you're across the table or even just at a decent distance, you're definitely you're not going to notice these. Now, clear bases, well, they split the crowd a little. I'm a fan of them. I think the terrain below, or the grid below, even if you're just working with a paper map, that's going to show through, and I think that's helpful. Maybe more for larger things than, small goblins, but I still like the consistency. If you've got a load of other minis that don't have clear bases, then you might have your consistency problem though. They've all got awesome weapons, from a whip to a spear to a spiked mace. Now, they're good. It's very interesting, though, that there's no ranged goblin in this set, unless you're counting the whip as sort of ranged weaponry. I'm not a huge fan of the plinths that they use, the clear plastic to make them jump or to lift them off the base slightly. You couldn't get a dynamic pose like the jump, though. You wouldn't be able to get that dynamic pose without the plinth, so you can let it off, or at least I can. I think it's a personal bugbear that they do that, but everyone is different. Now, goblins are going to get a lot of use at the table, be that from you wandering into a dark cave. You could easily run into some goblins. You could find them in a ruin or, an abandoned castle. And that's before you track them back to a goblin encampment or something like that, and there's a whole gang of them, a small army of them. Now, this set, 6 goblins, works really well at decent size, small encounters. They're not the hardest foes, but, 6 of them could pose a small challenge to the right group. At least early on, sort of in their D&D journey, and it's a good start for a bigger amount of them. The fact that they're all unique poses, unique dynamic poses, all with different weapons, means it's really helpful when you're having that encounter. You can just be, rather than Goblin 1, Goblin 2, you can have it as Goblin with the whip, and that can be useful. The issue comes back to not having a ranged goblin in this set. If you've only got this set, then you're going to have to be like, okay, the one that's holding the mace is actually going to shoot at you with a short bow or something like that. It's a slightly immersion breaking thing, but I like the set other than the fact it's missing that ranged thing. And it gets me excited for some of the other upcoming warband sets. These clear plastic ones help you quite quickly. You buy this set, you've got a nice goblin encounter you can have, and I think that's what this set's really good for. Let me know what you think of, the rotating video parts and, generally what you think of the set, just so I can improve these videos as we go on. And otherwise, have a great day.